Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and that guy that really hates Armada Hotshot. This is not a test. This is a random review.
The day is here, the wait is over. Earthspark toys are now readily available in Canada, but you can also find them online, which is what I did. So now we actually get to talk about the Deluxe class figures for Earthspark, starting with Terran Twitch. One I've really been excited about just because I love the design, I love the character, and yeah, I'm super happy about this. Okay, so just to get this out of the way, keep in mind, we're talking about an Earthspark Deluxe, which is comparable to your Cyberverse Deluxes from the past. So don't expect them to have like the same robustness or like the same like lack of ball joints and like solid hinges and all that the collector lines do. This is just kind of doing its own thing. So we're just going to take it for what it is, and remember, it's not as expensive as your standard Deluxe in, you know, something like a Legacy, for instance. But we're going to start with her in her drone mode and looking very characterful and appropriate in said mode. I wouldn't have thought I could get much characterization out of a drone with a camera eye in the cartoon, but she pulls it off pretty well, so kudos to the animators, because it's a pretty masterful job and makes me more interested in the vehicle mode than I would be normally. The drone does look quite nice. It doesn't look like a drone that would function, but then again, this is one of Wheeljack's drone designs, so Cybertronian tech works a little bit better. But I do like the overall shape. It's never going to be quite as compact as it is in the cartoon. There's just limitations and all that. But for what it is, I think they did a really, really nice job. I think it works really, really well. You can see she is mostly cast in this very fiery orange plastic with a lot of paint and some molded parts for gunmetal to separate her out. And then we get some translucent elements in the fins as well as the antenna stack here in the back. And yeah, the VTOLs do spin, the fans spin, one better than the other, but they do both spin around. They're not so loose that you can like flick them. Well, this one you can. Yeah, this one's a little bit too tight. But, you know, they're there. They're not really going to, you know, spin or flutter or anything, but good enough. Good enough. It gets the look across. At least they can rotate. So, on the underside, you do get a bunch of her robot mode bits, as well as the gun, which we can detach and give her a little bit of a cleaner profile, though that does expose a little bit more of her robotness there on the underside. On the bottom, you can see these Laserbeak-esque feet, which we can lay her down on without scraping up her arms. Always a nice thing. However, if you do want to display her in flight, there's a stand on the inside. Going to be really hard to see, even if I focus in on it. But you can see like there's a little 3mm port for your display stand, so you can plug right in there and give her any kind of flight pose you want. Great to see. Beyond that, a little bit of black for the intakes, the yellow for the eye, of course. You can see her head tucked down in there. I do like when a Transformer is seeing out of the same area in both robot and vehicle mode. I think that's a nice little touch. And beyond that, yeah, she's just this cute little drone bot that I really, really like. So, not too bad. So, there's not a whole lot to these, so we can kind of go straight into the transformation here in the robot mode and kind of make a short review out of this. You know, it's not like we can go like too heavily into what goes on here. You can adjust these VTOLs, by the way. They are on ball joints, so they turn and rotate, so she can be like speeding forward. You know, she could be flapping and emoting. She's got a lot of little posability to her in those. Nice to have. But for the robot mode, we're going to get those out of the way for the duration of the transformation, just so nothing gets clipped. And for this, we're going to start by starting to disengage tabs, which is going to start on these two on the underside of the vehicle mode. And then from underneath what are going to be her armpits in the robot mode. Now, this toy does have a little bit of an issue on mine where this front section really doesn't want to fold up all the way. You can see how it kind of springs back into position. Luckily, the things that tab in to secure it do hold it in the correct spot. But it is a little bit annoying that it kind of wants to look down all the time. So it could be a little bit smoother. It could just be mine doing that. Keep in mind, like a lot of flaws or mileage may vary. But with that out of the way, I'm going to extend out the legs and fold them in. Tuck them into the spot. Make sure you hear that click to tab them in. Adjust the feet like so, and then rotate 90 degrees. That's going to be the legs all done. We can go ahead and separate this out just to get these little wings out of the way. Open this up. This is another tricky little part because these little tabs here on the biceps are going to tab into this this little spinal piece for the stand, but it's in open slots, not closed ones, which means getting them in and securing them, they like to slip out once in a while, so you're going to have to fiddle with those in order to get those to work 100% of the time. Go ahead and close up the legs and adjust like so. Flip all of that down, flip the head down, and that's pretty much going to be your lot. After that, just clean her up, get everything straightened up for the robot mode, and that's pretty much going to be your Twitch. Move this way. How do we want to have these? Usually has them down. We'll have them down for now. How about that? So yeah, she doesn't have a terribly complex robot. What is going on here where she's a little bit... There we go. One of the ankle hinges was a little bit off. But we're good. We're good. All right. So yeah, as you would expect of a deluxe class deluxe class Earthspark toy, just like the Cyberverse toys, not the most involved transformation, not intended to have an involved transformation. This is still the kids line, remember. This is just like the closest the kids line comes to what we know as normal Transformers, so we can have an engineering experience without, gimmicks getting in the way. And the same can go for kids who want a more complex transformation that looks a little bit more accurate and a little bit more true to the character in the show. So that is what we have here. And she looks great. For about 5-inch figure. Yeah, Twitch is looking really, really nice. The proportions work really well. The transformation, now simple, effective. Only a little bit of kibble with her drone mode legs sticking off of her arms. Not a huge deal. The wings, that's just a part of her character. So, yep. She is a bit back heavy. You can adjust the ankles to correct for that, so that's good at least. But yeah, let's take a look at the head sculpt. We'll go in close up for that. Gigantic eyes with some great light piping going on in them. So it's yellow light piping, but I don't know if they painted the front of the eyes or if it's just reflecting off of all that orange plastic inside her head, but it's giving off a red-orange glow instead of a yellow one, which actually does look pretty nice. Separates them out without looking too off. Really, really like it. A lot of silver for the paint, a little bit of gunmetal and yellow for the crest. Looking really good. She's got a little bit of a smile to her. So she's looking about as friendly as she does in the show. Really, really like it. Beyond that, she keeps a lot of her drone mode designs. You can see they've added some of this, more of this silver with a little touch of blue hint to the hue. A little bit more of the blue plastic is now showing too in the waist as well as the biceps. More gunmetal on the forearms as well as going all the way through the legs. For a, air quote, cheaper toy, quite a bit of paint going on in order to get her character across, which looks really, really nice. Really good that they saw that, I just did this video about how, the main characters of a show, the kid appeals, tend to get bad toys. So, it's really nice when one comes up like this that is fine. She looks good. She isn't really doing anything wrong. I'm actually a big fan here. Now, that's not a pun on her VTOLs, by the way. Though she is looking quite a bit like the little sister of Windblade, now that I think about it. So I'm going to go ahead and attach her gun accessory, which, like a lot of movie toy accessories, completely covers her hand and forearm, so it looks like her hand transformed, which that is how it works in the show, so good on her. Again, gunmetal, a little bit of orange this time to convey that it is heating up and ready to blast. Again, looking quite nice. I'm very, very happy with this. Now, tolerance-wise is where we have a little bit of issue. So on my chest, you're supposed to have these teeth that kind of peg into the belly in order to hold the torso in place. On mine, it's not really making that connection, which is unfortunate. And the hip ball joints are a little bit looser than I would like. You can see they hold a pose, but they don't hold a pose for very long or for the slightest amount of rubbing or bumping. So that's an unfortunate downside. On the upside, everything posability seems to work well otherwise. Like I said, the VTOLs are ball jointed, so those have full range. It's a ball joint holding these wings on, so you can play with them and decide exactly how you want your twitch to hang on to her blades. Beyond that, the head is ball jointed, full range of motion, plenty of range to look up, so you can get some great flight poses out of her. You have the ball joints in the shoulders, full 360-degree rotation on the bicep. Elbow joint is 90-degree bend, nothing at the wrist. Waist works, has that. Ball jointed hips, as we said before, full rotation there in the thighs as well. Knees go beyond the 90. And then we get down to the ankles, which can rock both ways, actually, as well as move back and forth quite a bit. There's a hinge system in here that gives you a lot more range as far as what the foot can do. So she can assume a lot of really fun poses. I really like when ankle articulation is emphasized, because it does give you a huge amount of stuff that you can do that a lot of Transformers tend to miss out on. So yeah, if you want to go into some like crazy weird wild pose, she can do that. That's a thing that Twitch can do. So I'm really happy. Aside from the fact that the articulation needed to be tightened up a little bit on mine, and again, that is a mileage may vary situation. Yours could be completely fine. I'm thrilled with how much she can articulate at her budget level. So that's the main figure. That's pretty much all there is to the toy itself. However, though I should mention, if you want more flight modes, that 3mm peg is also in the back of her pelvis, which is typical of most Transformers these days. Now, we've talked about her, but there's a little bit more that comes with her. She comes with this, which she cannot use as it is some sort of Dr. Octopus harness, and a severed human head, which tells you what these Terrans are really up to. No, it's Mandroid, or parts of Mandroid. You get the head and you get his backpack, which isn't in the show yet. Spoiler toy. But it does continue a tradition with Hasbro's Transformer Build-A-Figures in that the torso that you need to hold all the parts together usually comes too late. They did this with Macadam, and it was super annoying to just have like a pile of parts of Macadam lying around with nothing to do with them until they finally released the torso, and then I actually have a place to put them all. I understand they want the assembly of the final figure to be like the last, like, oh wow, kind of moment of the toy. But I'd also really like to not have a box full of like limbs, arms, and heads rolling around just waiting for bodies to be released. So that's still a downside. But hey, 1/6 of a Mandroid. That is also in Twitch's box, just so you know everything you are getting. So that is your Warrior Class Twitch toy. She is fantastic for her price point, with a few little odd quibbles on mine that could be common issues. They could be just my bad luck. One or the other, don't really know. What I know is that it is a very charming drone mode and a very articulated and well-designed robot mode that really captures the character from the show. And that's what I was really after when it came to this figure. So, take it for what you will. I enjoy the toy quite a bit. Thank you guys for watching. I've got the others. I've got Megatron and, why did I forget right away? Bumblebee, of course Bumblebee. I've got those on the way too, or on the way. I'm on the way to the channel. They're like right over there. They're like right to my left. So we're gonna do those soon too. But for now, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.